Well, it's transition time. Transition, that's the buzzword in the news these days, isn't it? Time for the presidential transition to be moving right along. After a difficult election season, we're now in transition season. And though the tone and the angst seem remarkably similar, the goal is now different. Now it's about the peaceful transition of power. That's the essential next step upon which our whole system of government hinges. The peaceful transition of power. One president and his administration vacate the seat of power, and a new one, often with different views and different priorities, steps in. So that's what's happening, more or less, these days in America. Transition time, with all its bumps and bruises and controversies. For us, this day in the church is Christ the King Sunday, and it's a day that has something to do with transition and power. For today, we are invited to reflect on how Jesus does these things. And what we find is Jesus' way of doing power is dramatically different. To prove the point, the gospel reading we hear this day is the story about Jesus on the cross. And that seems like the most powerless place imaginable. So let's take a moment to think about this bit of the story of the cross from Luke's gospel. Like, did you notice 3 times in these verses we hear calls for Jesus to save himself? He saved others, let him save himself, say the leaders of the people. If you are the king of the Jews, save yourself, say the soldiers. Save yourself and us, says the criminal who hangs beside him. Why do they keep bringing this up over and over? Well, the implication seems obvious. If Jesus is really the Messiah and really a king, then he's not going to let this happen. If Jesus was really the anointed one of God, then the last thing he's going to do is go and get himself crucified on the cross. See, the scoffers say, we knew this Jesus wasn't anything special, and this cross proves it. Of course, they're just caught up in the same trap we so often are, the trap of this political point of view. In the political world, among politicians and kings, power and authority are used to save yourself. When you're in trouble, you call on your army to beat back your enemies. When your poll numbers are down, you say something bad about your opponent. When you need to get elected, you sow your influence among big donors. Yes, ours is a political system that too often seems to reward those who seek to save themselves. In truth, the scoffers at the cross were only playing by the rules of the world, where power and prestige are king. And a cross is a shameful sign of failure. But Jesus has a different vision of what it means to be king, doesn't he? Jesus has a different vision of what power will be used for. For Christ the King, we are given this unlikely portrait of our King. Jesus hung on a cross with the criminals, scoffed at by the leaders, mocked by the soldiers, left to suffer an agonizing death. Behold, your King. But this is how Jesus rules. This is how Jesus changes the world, by suffering and dying, by giving himself, giving his life, giving up all power. The cross, this central symbol of our faith, lots of things happen at the cross. But one of those is that God upends power, overturns its rules, and its way. You see, there is a transition of power that takes place at the cross. It wasn't obvious to the soldiers who mocked him or the leaders who scoffed. It wasn't known by the passers-by or even the criminals who hung there too. But on the cross, Jesus was becoming king. Jesus was becoming king. The powers that be conspired to put Jesus on the cross, but in the ultimate twist of the plot, God was using the cross to dethrone the world's kingdom in order that the world would be ruled by the one whose power is love and mercy and forgiveness. His tormentors did not know it, but on the cross, the power passed to Jesus. And what does Jesus do with this power? Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Today we embrace this portrait, and we seek to emulate this way of power. For to proclaim Christ as King is not to seek glory and prestige, it's to turn away from those things, to follow in the way of Jesus. That sounds good as the abstract, I'm sure, but what does that really mean for us? What are the ways that people of God could actually live like Jesus in this way, giving away power so that love and mercy and forgiveness could reign? Well, we can love those who seem unlovable, befriend those who have no friends, pray for those for whom no one prays. When we share love with those who it is hard to love, we are giving away our power so that the love of Christ shines through. Or we can extend mercy to those who are in need. Pay attention to those who may be suffering silently. Prepare or bring a Thanksgiving meal to someone who is hungry. When we show mercy toward others, we are giving away our power so that the mercy of Christ can bring hope. Or we can seek forgiveness where there is conflict and hurt. Apologize to those we have wronged. Accept the apology of those who have done wrong to us. When we seek forgiveness with those we know, we are giving away our power so that the forgiveness of Christ can transform lives. Why do we need Christ the King Sunday anyway? Well, I think it's because there are too many other things that demand our allegiance. Too many other things that want to rule over us, and we need to reset our expectations of what power is and isn't for. Jesus is King and Lord of our life. He reigns over us and reigns through us. For now, the Christ of the cross has empowered us to do His work, passing on His power, His peace, His presence to us, so that we can give it away.